Uh, what and what? The last two topics are from the last module. From the last module, right? So, what are they? Corporate social responsibility and ethics. Corporate social responsibility and ethics. So let's rush through what we have in the notes, and then we'll also go down into what we have in the courseware to see the entirety of everything that we're supposed to study. The recording has started, so reach out to your colleagues and have them join this course. You know what's about your own class, Business Basic 201, that you don't like attending lectures. This class now is just 12 people that only 12 people. And you are 113. Okay. You're 113. So where are the others? Where are they? Hmm?
They will join us, sir. Maybe
Hmm.
they're having network.
You're assuming for them or you're assuming for yourself, as if they've always joined network. From the beginning of your class, your own session this semester, I don't think I've had 20 people in your class once.
We are sorry
So
about that, sir.
it's a trend. No, you don't have to be sorry. You have to do what necessary in your study as well. Otherwise, I wish you what you wish yourself. Okay, so that's what it means. Anyway, so let's rush with this. I don't know. You are here, so it's not you that's the issue at all. At all, you have all the advantage to hear and learn and be able to read easily, right? It even shows that you are ready. But some of your colleagues, I think it's in this class that there's a group that did not do assignments. This is the first time that there's a group that did not do group assignments. The first time since we started this program in 2019 or for undergraduates that there's any group that will not do submit a group assignment. It's imagine. And some of the group members reached out after I gave them opportunity to reach out. And the first question I asked them, do you have the assignment ready in your hand? So that we know that it's just to submit that's a problem. And the answer was negative. No. They not even gather themselves to do it. And they're relying on a group leader. Maybe that one man has deferred the semester, who knows? So nobody in that group can gather them. And I bet you that many of those people in that group, or if any, almost all of them are not even on this class, on this call this evening. So I want to congratulate you that you're here. And I want to also appreciate you for being here all through. Okay, I want to
Thank you.
congratulate you for seeing the last session, for being here with us in the last session. Okay. Certain
Thank
things
you.
are very important, certain instructions. One thing that will make you do well in an academic environment is the ability to follow instructions and pay attention to details. Once that's available, then you will not have any problem, even in the workplace. Follow instructions and heed to heed to follow instructions and follow what now? Pay attention to details, even in instructions. But I don't know. I don't just know, Sha. So, all right. Our last class, we have done what we call environmental analysis. We finished it. Yes, we did a very robust job there, looking at environmental analysis. This one is BSAQ201. So let me close it. Let's go to your folder. Okay, we did a very robust job there, right? Yeah. So please read it into all the corners where you have that. Okay. So this I want to believe that these two courses these two chapters here that added on this course are just addendums. I'm not so sure they're supposed to be here, but let's just go on anyway. Corporate or social responsibility of business and business ethics. Okay, in my own opinion, they're not even supposed to be. Well, they'll be covered in details in BSAQ 301, which is almost in a way a repetition of this. Okay. So now let's take it very quickly. Okay, social responsibility of business. Don't mind the way they did it. There's a mistake in this topic, okay? There's nothing like social responsibility of business ethics. So there's a mistake here. So it's either you want to write it like social responsibility of business and then business ethics. Okay, so that's how it should be. Or it would have been corporate social responsibility and then business ethics, which is corporate ethics. I see somebody's hand is on. Do you have a question on this? 'Cause I've not even said anything, so I wonder what question you want to ask on this. Hello, are you there? All right, so let's go on. I want to believe that hand raise is by mistake, so you may have to lower it also. Correct. All right, so you see now, so you see when we begin to enter inside the main issues that is corrected. Social responsibility area. So it just three things that are here. I want to believe. Let me see whether they are really just the three things that are there. What it is, the different areas. Wow, this part is going to be deep for you. So I want you to pay attention to this part, okay? Social responsibility and central management. But we'll come to that. And then all of those ones are under what social responsibility is. And then areas of social responsibility. And that's one part I need to add to my notes. That all the details that you have here. Okay, so what does it mean to be socially responsible? Any question, any contributor? What does it mean to be socially responsible?
Hello, sir.
Good evening, you're welcome, sir. So go on, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. To be socially responsible is to be available not only for yourself, but for the other people around you. And being available for them, in my own opinion, is to be able to give an helping hand as such when needed.
Thank you very much. So that's a good one. That's a good one. So maybe we should even break it down again. Say, okay, responsibility, then social. So your definition has even brought out the social aspect of it. And now I want us to look at the first the main word, the noun there, which is responsibility. When we say what is responsibility, or when we say um somebody is responsible, a responsible young man. You all understand what I'm talking about, right? A responsible person, or what is responsibility? What do they mean? Okay, so let another person try and help us with this too, so that we'll be able to see how it works.
Responsibility means to take charge, to be in full control of something, or taking charge about something.
Hmm. Okay. Another powerful definition. Say responsibility means to take charge, to be in full control. That means if I want to recoin it now, you don't have to be you don't have to be forced to do what you're supposed to do. There are things that you're supposed to do, but by yourself, you are carrying yourself to do it. Then we cannot say somebody is a responsible person, right?
Another
Somebody wants to speak. Go
another
ahead and
answer.
go ahead. Go on. Yes, go on, please.
Another answer. It might be getting money to the
But your network is
community,
not stable.
being sensitive to their plight. Hello, sir.
Okay, it's better. Yeah, I can hear you
Hello, sir.
better clearly now. I can hear you
Yeah,
now. I don't know whether everybody
if I
can hear you, but
if you have something, then by donating,
oh.
by being sensitive to
It's
the
breaking.
of the community.
Okay, so if I hear you clearly, you're talking about being sensitive to the needs of the community. Is that what you're
The plight
saying?
of the people of the community.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
I'm
that's a good
in
one
form of
too. That's a good one too. So, that's a good one. So, thank you very much. So, let's put everything together and let's relate it to business now, how it concerns business. So, the entire idea around social responsibility, especially when you bring it to business, stems on the fact that every adult in society there are certain things that adults are supposed to do in society for the well-being of themselves and for those that are directly connected to them, and also for the society at large as adults, right? As adults, there are many things that we are expected to do. You can agree with me on this. So that's when we go on to do these things without being forced, then we can now say we are responsible. There are many things actually, like from a political perspective, we can talk about paying of taxes, that's contributing to the well-being of the rulership, right? That's just a basic example. Keeping the environment clean and do any of those things like that. Okay, excuse me, please. Hello, can you hear me now? Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. So when you bring it to not just adults, but also to businesses, uh that's where we now start talking about businesses taking responsibility just like individuals. They should also pay taxes. They should also ensure that the environment is kept healthy and clean. And there are many other areas where businesses are supposed to take responsibilities. Okay. A teacher, as an individual, has a responsibility to educate the people. Okay. Um, the guy that has a bakery, the bread man has a responsibility to provide bread. Okay. Yeah. So let's wrap up. Let's rush up because I don't want us to take further time. So we said business is an integral part of society. Okay, I'll always try to express, make you understand the difference between an artificial entity and a real entity, or what they call legal entity. Like there are two major persons in this country that I can use to explain this. One of them is Aliko Dangote, then the other one is Dangote PLC, Dangote Group PLC. They are not the same person. I hope you understand. They're not the same person. One is a real person. The other one is an artificial person, which is the company now. So if Aliko Dangote is expected to be a responsible citizen, it also means that Dangote group of companies is also responsible to be a responsible, is also expected to be a responsible personality. In this time around, a corporate personality, right? Same thing goes for every singular businesses. Two people, the owners are different, the businesses are different. A Tony Elumelu, for instance, is different from UBA. Okay. If Tony Elumelu does carries out his responsibility as a citizen, UBA will also carry out his responsibility as a citizen. Okay. So that's how it goes. All right. So how does this work? First of all, what really happened? How does it work? These things came up as an evolution, how things have happened in time past in several aspects of the country of different countries of the world, not just Nigeria. So, and Nigeria, you've seen, for example, um, a very good example has been the Niger Delta areas, especially the very areas where they have oil. You can see those companies just come in, do businesses, and then they go. Their activities have impact on the society, both positively and negatively. And they go, nobody complains. But negative impacts of these kind of activities are such that, are such that have a harmful effect on even the livelihood of the people in some of those communities or villages where these things happen. Right? Yeah. So over time, people became agitants. Okay, it became an irritation on them. Before you know it, we started having reactions, complaints here and there. So in Nigeria, that was what even led to kidnapping of oil workers in the South. But in many other countries, they've had different shares and different experiences. In many other industries, poultry, many industries, transportation, how roads are being damaged, every business has both a positive and a negative effect or impact somehow on the society, especially when there is production. Okay, it could be the smoke or sound of the generators in the neighborhood, right? It could be the big trucks that are using to match the road and the road are scattering, but they're offering value too. So you see that now. Should we now say they should stop drilling oil because they are causing oil spillage? Or should we stop say we should say they should stop doing poultry because they are polluting the air in the environment, they're making everywhere smell? Should we say they should not produce again because of the negative ones? No. All we are saying is that they should look into the negative effects and look for ways to help out. That's what this thing is about. So at a point in time, the government started speaking out, community activists, environmental activists, public activists started rising up and they started speaking against these things. So that's what we have here. So those speakings now started having negative effect on the companies. So the companies now decided to rise up by themselves, just the way an adult will rise up by himself. So the companies rise up by themselves to look into these things very well, okay, without being told to do so. That's why we say corporate social responsibility is a self-regulating mechanism. Okay, you get that right? Good. So it's self-regulating. But what are they now? What do they do with that? What do they look at? They analyze the impact of their presence and the operations on the society. So it's a self-regulating mechanism through which they study the impact of their presence. Now that which company you want to give to me now? Now that this bakery is here, what's the positive impact or negative impact, as the case may be? They analyze it. Then if there's a negative one, they accept responsibility for it. And then this should be an and here. And accept responsibility for, as well as there should be, as well as mitigate, okay? Mitigate the impact of the negative ones. Okay, do you understand now? Mitigate the negative impacts rather. Okay. And try to resolve it so you can see they can begin to build roads, protect them, carry out activities that will protect the environment. Just do something sure that the environment can say, oh, it's okay. It's a win-win. Everything is a win-win, right? So that's how we got there, okay? So I'm not so sure that there's all of these stories in your course, but some of these ones maybe notes from 300 level material. Okay, but let's see how it goes anyway. The components, they have the economic part, the environmental part. So what concerns you more is even the areas, this part now. Areas, the stakeholders. Okay, so businesses identify different stakeholders that they owe something that they are supposed to be responsible to. They are responsible to the owners of the business, they're responsible to the employees, they're responsible to customers, they're responsible to the government. Okay. So let's look at that very quickly from your note. I'll discuss from here. So I've begun to explain all these areas. I tried to tell you how it started around the year around it's around late 19th century, right? That arguments came up, arguments. Before niche companies started adopting this thing, there were many arguments. So we'll see that at the end of this course. So let's not jump into that now, although it's coming up at this beginning, but no problem still. Okay. All right. So you must have I've explained all of these. That's what I was trying to tell you. As business is in society, business is supposed to do this. Society has many different parties, and all of them have one thing or another to play. Okay, and business activities affect these societies. Okay, and they don't. So in some cases, they only care about profit. They don't care about other things. This was the objective from of old. Okay, until recent times now that all these issues started coming about. So you're going to read this chapter very well, because you will find some questions here in your exam, either in your objective. This part that I'm looking at now, social responsibility and central management. Okay, that's what I gave you for your forum. I asked you to read all through and pick out a subsection and answer. Just few lines. Don't come and do it's 5 marks, and then you are many. So let other people get something to answer. Right? Let other people get something to answer. So we said this now. Civilized society depends on a continuing flow of resource conversions. Okay, and when we talk of social responsibility of business managers, we are mainly concerned about the effectiveness and the side effects of resource conversions. How are resources converted and are moved across one party to another? Okay, now look at that. There are 3 basic elements are involved. Number 1, building that continuing flow among all the resource suppliers. People that supply you this, people that you give this, the employees. Make sure that, there's a continuation with your employees, your suppliers, your and so on and so forth. That's that. Number 2, designing an internal conversion technology, something that happens internally in such a way that the thing can just keep flowing based on that agreement. And then integrating and balancing the external and internal flow. Okay. So these 3 are discussed one by one. 1, 2, and 3. I want to believe. I'm not seeing the other ones here, but I believe they all should be here. They're all discussed inside here. Wow, they're all discussed under here. So read it very well. Okay, read it very well. They're not so difficult. They're just straightforward. Okay. The idea is that there are many parties. Customers supply money for the business and collect goods. Right, that's a resource flow. The shareholders supply capital, and in the other hand, they receive profit. That's a resource flow. Labor supplies services, and they also receive salaries. That's a resource flow. The suppliers supply raw materials, right? And they also receive their own payments too. That's also a resource flow. That's the exchange relationship. Okay. So this is how can a business make sure that all these parties are pleased, and then these resources continue to flow even when there are changes in their demands. Maybe customers begin to demand more, or shareholders begin to demand more, okay? Or nature itself begins to demand more. It should be nature. Nature begins to demand more. What can be done? How can they respond? That's what this place is about. So you need to study it. It says here, what is involved here is more than money. Okay, there has to be that continuing cooperation. Employees, for example, now must continue to cooperate and work for the organization. That means the organization, on the other hand, must also pay attention to what is important to the employees. I hope you understand what I'm saying, right? Okay, so it goes beyond. That means it goes beyond money now. It goes beyond salary. Okay, stability of employment, reasonable supervision, future opportunities. Not just them, investors too. Okay, they have their own concerns. The business wants the money from the investors, the capital, right? But the investors too have their own concerns. So we need to come to a win-win situation. But this can only happen by being responsible. So read all of these too, and then read them and read where you have points like this. Take note of the points because you might see them in your exams. Okay. Now look, I think I like this table. Okay. Where they begin to demand for more, right? Labor can come today and say we want equal opportunity for women and for minorities. That's a demand. And if business does not do something about it, that flow of relationship might not be there. Investors want to be protected from inflation. They don't want a situation whereby they invest 1 million naira in your company today in January, a January of Nigeria or of Tinubu's Nigeria, for example, and by the December, that 1 million naira in value cannot buy the same thing that it could buy in January because of inflation. Okay. The community, the town itself, they have their own demands, right? The people that are supplying material, they have their own demands, and so on and so forth. Okay, so take a look at that and study it very well. Now, you see why these two chapters have to be put together is this line. They said another dimension of corporate, okay, of the concept defined social responsibility is, what am I saying here? Another dimension of the concept define this our social CSR, right? CRS as what? As what now? Ethics, bringing ethics into it, right? I mean, it goes beyond just the people now. So that every decision that the business makes must consider a number of things. Number one, ethical values. Number two, compliance to what the law says. Number three, respect for people, respect for communities, respect for the environment. Are you getting this now? So that is a way to define it. This is why I always like to teach ethics as part of business ethics. Okay, good. So for our purpose, you can follow the other thing. I've given you the definition anyway. But I love what's here anyway. It says CSR is the operating of the businesses operating in a manner that meets or exceeds the expectations. And these expectations include ethical expectations, legal expectations, commercial expectations, and public expectations. Okay. The expectations of who? Of the society and of all of those parties. So read all of those, and you'll be very fine. It's simple and straightforward. Good. So the next thing is areas of social responsibility. We have seen the different parties and how the different parties and how they are, how do I put it now? In several parties and how they have their own demands and how business must meet with all those demands. Shareholders have their demands, so you're going to read it. You're going to read it. Okay. Our time is running fast. Read it. What shareholders expect. They expect honesty, honest disclosure of company's financial transaction. Okay. They expect that the firm's resources are not abused. Okay. They expect that their investment are secured. Customers, what do customers want? Customers want fair pricing. Don't come and cheat them. Give them quality products. Okay. There's something called consumerism here. When issues that surround customer interest begin to come up, and they call it consumerism. Okay. Protect customers and it's give them the best. Make sure your products are not harmful. Okay, the employees also. Employees have their own expectation. Apart from just salary, you need to provide good working conditions. Oh, I've heard of a recent bad working condition in my environment that a particular employer gives the employees, and people don't usually want to stay and they pay them well, but when they come, oh my goodness. Okay, so look at all of this responsibility to employees, training, communication. Okay, what about the environment? What are the expectations from the environment? You can read it here. Okay, don't expose people and crops to damaging things, to hazards. Okay, I'll give an example of some of the areas, some of the villages in Niger Delta, how they've suffered from all of these things. It's also the community. So with this structuring, I want you to understand the government has its own too, anyway, taxes and the rest of them, obedience to laws, insurance of fixed asset, and so on. I want you to understand all of these things. With this structure, you can study them and know that, oh, businesses ought to be responsible. The last part is in this one now, where where should I say schools of thought, okay, where there are arguments from different perspectives. One school of thought, the one they call the classical school of thought, will say, why should businesses do all of this? Share, share the objective of business is to make profit. So why are they, if you start doing all these things now, business will be distracted. You understand what I'm saying? Then on that school of thought will say, no, businesses are supposed to do this because it's their activity that are causing so and so. So we have two concepts here. Arguments for, and was the one that support that businesses should go on to carry out these things, or arguments against, the one that say no, businesses should not carry. So these are their points. So you should study them and see. Let's see what's on that. Okay, good. So let's look at the first part. The points that they are giving. The ones that say businesses should go on to carry it. These are their points. Okay. Now let's not why they say business should carry. So study it and see. And then the one that say no. You have people like Milton Friedman. Okay. So study that too, and then you'll be very fine. I'm going to wrap up here because I've already given you assignment on this. So that assignment should mean that you should study it, and then finish off. So this also leads us into ethics, the ethical aspect of business, right? Which is our last topic. Okay. So from this topic, you're supposed to know what ethics is and what ethics is not. Why ethics is important, the levels of ethics. Okay. And then the benefits of that ethical behavior to business when a business goes on to be ethical. What does it stand to gain? And then how does it impact on the corporate strategy? All right. It's going to be a long ride. So I want you to study it on your own as well. So you see now there are many areas where you can pick something to do for your graded forum of 5 marks without having to duplicate someone else's answer. Okay, so long and short, the definition of ethics has to do with when it comes now for people to determine what is right or wrong. But good. So you're waiting for the but, right? When there are issues that has to do with right and wrong, right or wrong, but in the area of morals, not in the area of legal or any other aspect. I mean, something can be legal, but not ethical, right? And this ethics is defined by social values, moral values of different societies. I usually give examples here as to there's some things that are legal in some countries, but they are not ethical in some countries or in the same country. Okay, things like same-sex marriages, the LGBTQ that we have in some countries. Even in those countries, there are many schools that still say this is unethical, but they are legal. As a matter of fact, it became a point that if you, as someone who's supposed to marry same sex, you refuse, they'll come and jail you. That means you have broken the law. You are abusing their rights. Man, how did they get here? So you see now that ethical issues have to do with morals, and that's different from legal issues. That's also different from commercial issues. Commercial issues, anything that brings money anything that brings profit is right, commercially speaking. But is it ethical? That's the question you ask. Okay. And this is what it is in every organization, whether business, political party, as far as there are points where people have to now decide on what is right or what is wrong, then ethics have come into play. Okay. So you can read up the other areas and see. I think it's better you read this particular part from your coursework. So I'll just update my note and separate and differentiate what it says in BSAQ 301 and what it says in BSAQ 201, because you will meet that. So all these things you see that added here, please go and study them. I'm most likely going to see them in the exams. Okay. Building a responsible business enterprise, RBE. RBE. How do you make your business enterprise become responsible? There are 4 levels at least. Okay, number 1, compliance. Number 2, risk management. Number 3, reputation enhancement. Number 4, value added. Let's go back to the note and let's see what these things are. Okay, that's fine. All right, so morality is what gives rise to ethics. Ethics now produce ethical theory, and then that's now applied to solve problems that may come up in society. Here they say there are 3 levels of business ethics. That one is straightforward. Study it by yourself. Macro, corporate, and individual, right? Confirm that you're with me, please. There are 3 levels of business ethics: the macro level, the corporate level, the individual level. Now,
Yes, we
why
are.
is it important? Thank you very much.
Yeah, we just
Why is it important for a business to practice it? Practice ethics. Those ones are also straightforward. Okay. So that there are many reasons why. This one says business already has so much power than before, and it's still increasing. So businesses, despite how much power it keeps having in society, it must be able to contain itself well. Okay. And then you should understand why business begin to have power, and when issues like that come up, how should they address them? Look at this. Say business has the potential to provide a major business can affect society by its contributions, providing employment, paying taxes alone. There are some companies that their tax alone, okay, and so on and so forth. And now, if they are now into the negative, if their positive issues can affect so positively, that means their negative aspect also will also affect negatively. I mean, they have to come to the point whereby the practitioners in business themselves, have to be the one to make all these decisions by themselves without having to be cajoled by the government or anybody. So read all of this. Okay. What are the benefits of business ethical behavior? Look at them here. Plenty benefits. Okay, plenty benefits. So read them out. Plenty benefits. Increase profit in the long run, because people will definitely come and patronize you. Reduce risk and costs. Nobody will come and lock you or close your shop because of one thing that you did. Just read up all of these. They are straightforward too. 9:51. I hope that by 10 would have closed. So this is where I was reading from. Building a responsible business enterprise, what you call RBE, responsible business enterprise. Okay, this is why organizations come up with core values, principles, okay, which provide a basis for business decisions and conduct. Okay, so these lines are straightforward and very simple. It says typically business ethics presume that every decision that they make must conform to certain standards, and those standards should be consistent with the law and the regulation in the land. Should also be consistent with the internal policy and procedure of the business. Okay, and should be consistent with the core values that the managers have determined or decided. And those include honesty. Okay, you see that's where lying and bribery and changing of figures have to be addressed. Integrity issues, respect, fairness, okay, commercial principles such as profitability, customer satisfaction, product quality, and so on and so forth. Okay, so read all this part and see, look at this diagram. These are the 4 different levels of what they should do: compliance, risk management, reputation enhancement, and value added. These are the levels where, if you want to build a responsible business enterprise, that's the level at which you're going to attend to things. Yes, even if you have to start complying, but then you're complying, you're finding out that, oh, by complying, I'm reducing my risk. Nobody will come and close my shop one day and say, oh my goodness, I made that mistake again. Nobody will come and close your shop and say, you people did not pay taxes, or your business did not do this, or your business did this and did not do that. Okay, come in. Good. So by complying, you are reducing your risk. But by reducing your risk and complying, you are also going to the third step. And that third step has to do with you enhancing your public image, right? Enhancing your public image. Where are we? Just here, right? It's enhancing your public reputation. And before you know anything, you are benefiting from it, right? So we said setting objectives in all 4 levels and also achieving the objectives is a goal of a business ethics program. That means there is something called business ethics program in companies that want to build a responsible business enterprise, right? So that's something called that program. That program is what helps you to do these 4 things, to meet up with these 4 levels. You start by complying to all the laws and all the values of the land. Okay, so we said that business ethic programs, it provides the core for the competitive strategy of that business that you're trying to build. Okay, good. So read all of this and say and look and know about different programs. I'm going to do an analytical study of this, analytical preparation of this for the next set, but not for the set anymore. These programs are more limited. Programs that are more limited in purpose, called ethics and compliance. These ones address these 2. Some focus on just these 2. But business ethic programs address the higher levels. That is reputation enhancement and value added in a systematic way. So read here to learn about business ethics programs. Okay. A business ethics program helps an enterprise establish the essence of its identity in the community, its core purpose, its core values, its envisioned future. They are all established in society. Okay, we said here, it is an effective tool for establishing standards and procedures to ensure that enterprise values are reflected in all that the employees do or think or say, all that the agents do or think or say. I think I love that. So just read up the remaining one. I'm going to stop. I'm going to try and start stopping now. Okay, I've brought you to the part. I don't have to come and start reading for you line by line. Okay, but I need to make sure that when you want to read, it's easy for you to connect the dots, connect one point with another. Finally, we have here the impact of value and ethics. When I say value, I'm referring to all those corporate core values, right? The impact of these two things on corporate strategy. Okay. Normally, what usually influences corporate strategy is the personal interest and personal values or personal feelings of the managers. But they have to go beyond that. The people that formulate corporate strategy, it's their own values that determine what's there. But they have to go beyond that. They have to be able to separate their feelings from it. But how? That means their feelings themselves have to be, first of all, influenced. Okay, we said here, corporate strategy is affected by the personal, not personnel, the personal values. That shouldn't be personnel. The personal values of the chief, the CEO, the CFO, the CEO, the CEO, the chief executive guys. Okay. For instance, a chief executive who likes profit well, his attention will be focused on profit, 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 profit. Another chief executive who likes social orientation very well, his attention will be on social factors when he's setting it. I hope you understand that now. So you see how the values of the person now affects whatever strategy that business will come up with. But what are we saying here? What are we saying here? We're saying here what they said, they are the first position anyway. Okay, I already said this, that their values will reflect in the policies, their values will reflect in the strategy. But what are we saying here? We need to reconcile them. We need to a point whereby it's not all about their personal values. Okay, at times there might be a disagreement between their personal values and other issues. Okay, he said the conflict of personal values and strategy. Okay, he said there is often a conflict between the personal values and rational business strategy. There's often a conflict. For strategy to be effectively implemented in the organizations, there is a need for commitment and support on the part of the top executives. Therefore, their personal values and their personal preferences must be given considerations. And a strategy that is based on rational, okay, rational considerations need to be modified. Okay. So study this part and see the final bus stop of where this conversation is headed. This conversation is saying that in any organization, we need to reconcile two things. What is rational? And then what is the personal values? They need to be reconciled. What are their preferences? They need to be reconciled, brought together and aligned. Okay. So that conflict should not be there. But how? How can you do that? He said the conflict can be resolved by making attempts to analyze the values. They have analyzed their different values, okay, and show them the analysis so that they will be aware. They will be aware of their behavior or their personal values, which are positive or negative or tilted to one aspect while abandoning another aspect at large. Okay, so that alone, that analysis now can help them to let their values that may conflict, those values, they may just let them slide. Let's forget about it. Okay. And then focus on what is more rational. Are you getting it now? Look at this simple example. They said in one of the organizations, a new CEO was appointed. who was born and brought in a posh environment. So he wanted rich interiors, rich exteriors of the head office. He wanted everything to be tushed. And this will cost a lot of sum. Okay. But when the finance director spoke to him, Oga, this thing will drain the company's fund, though. And then the company will start looking for cash because they're planning to clean up everywhere. So these two things have to be balanced. As much as we want to have a classy office, we also consider the other aspects as well. That's what it's saying. So the essence of this now, or the whole of the summary of all of this is that personal values, personal preferences of the executives of a company can affect corporate strategy. Meanwhile, general ethics and rational thinking is what is supposed to affect corporate strategy. So at the end of the day, you need to be able to balance personal values against rational and ethical considerations. Full stop. Any question? No question. All right, guys. So that brings us to the end of this course. Okay. So you're going to study again, summarize, write short lines, and then let's call it a quit, right? At this juncture, I want to wish you all the best, but also more than that, I want to wish you what you are wishing yourself. Okay. I observe that many people differ in your class. Those of you who could not submit your individual assignments, make sure you do your assignment and reach out to me and tell me that you've done it, so that I can open for you to submit. Okay. Same thing goes for that group. But if I want you to know that if after I have submitted this course to your coordinator, there will be no more chance for anybody to edit anything. Okay. I hope you understand that now. Any question on this? So let me stop the recording so that we can all go and rest for the night. And me, I will start the other part of my work for the semester. Thank you very much.
Hello, sir.